Krishna Hare 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 Rama Nam Nam Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Nam Nam Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Nam Nam Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Nam Nam Ram Hare Hare Hare
Pancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhuveva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaः.
Hare Krishna Krishna
Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Naam Acharya Shri
Krishna
Haridas
Chaitanya
Thakur
Prabhu
ki.
Nityananda Shri
Shri
Advaita
Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar
Jai
Shivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki.
Hari Bol,
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Guru
Hari
Maharaj's ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is Anuradha Devidasi from Dallas, Texas, and I'm so sorry for interrupting your ecstatic chanting, but it's time to move on to the next section of our mid-morning program, which is Caitanya Bhagavat. And so may I know who all are there on this call?
Hare Krishna, Anuruddha Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai, Priti Dasi from Charlotte. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Priti Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much for your association, Mataji. Dandavat Pranam. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, Dandavat Pranams, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharajas. This is Kirti Dasundari Dasi.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, welcome back, welcome back. Are you back?
Yes, Mataji, finally I'm back.
Guys, have been missing your association ever since Sadhu Sangha, Mataji. Thank you so much for your association. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharajas. And so happy to hear you. We didn't have to tell your name. Just Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji.
I'm also happy to be back, Mataji. Was missing all of your association.
Yes, Mataji, please be with us. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranams.
Hare
Krishna, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is Neetu from Baltimore.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharajas. Thank you so much for your association. Hare Krishna, Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Shri Guru and Gauranga and all assembled devotees. Yashamati from Chicago.
Hare Krishna, Yashamati Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much for all your association, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is Sudhi from Virginia. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Sudevi, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much for your sweet, sweet association. Please continue doing so. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam. Hare Krishna. Is there anybody else who would like to introduce, or else we'll start the class?
We'll wait for Prabhu to come, Mataji.
Oh, he is not here. Oh. Welcome, Preeti Vilasini Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. Of glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Anuradha Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and all the assembled devotees. This is Indulekha Karna Devi Dasi from Lincoln.
Hare Krishna, Indulekha Karuna Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. Of glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much for your wonderful association. Continue doing so, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Hare.
You have the quote for the day, Mataji?
Oh, yeah. I usually Vinita Mataji projects it and I just read it out. I read it from my phone, but then it will not be.
That's okay, Mataji. No problem. I'll start the recording and hand over to Ramgiridhari.
Shall I bring the quote and read, Mataji? You want me to read?
Yeah, if you have it nearby.
Yeah, just give me a moment. I'll get my phone.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is 18 July. Prabhupada writes that I know that if you maintain the association of devotees, your life will be happy and perfect. That is the version of the Shastra, that the most important thing of all spiritual realization is the company of realized souls or pure devotees of the Lord. Letter to Tribhuvanatha, July 18, 1970. Thank you so much. Welcome, Prabhuji, to Bhakti Sangha Japa group. We are very, very honored to have your association once again. Feel very fortunate. So please take over the call, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. And once again, it's a pleasure to be in the assembly of Vaishnavas to discuss Caitanya Bhagavata. So we will chant the invocation as well as read the verse. Then we can go over to reflections. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Thank
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. So we are reading from Caitanya Bhagavata, Adi Khanda, chapter 9, text number 153 and 154. Nirandara Krishna Veshe Sharira Avasham Kshane Kande Kshane Hase He Bhuje Se Rasam. The Lord had no control of his body due to his ecstatic love for Krishna. Sometimes he cried and sometimes he laughed. Who can understand his ecstatic moods? Yai mata nityananda prabhura brahmana haive madhavendra saha haila darshanam. As the Lord traveled in this way by the will of providence, he met Sri Madhavendra Puri. I have been given these two shlokas today. We will chant the invocation prayer and try to chant this context. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakayam Chakshurun Militam Yenam Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nidhi Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So Nityananda Prabhu had been traveling to different holy places, and in his travel, the way Balaram traveled to all the kshetras to avoid the difficult situation of taking one side over the other during the Mahabharat war. So Balaram chose to go on a Tirtha Yatra. Similarly, Nityananda Prabhu was traveling to different Tirthas. And it is explained here that Nityananda Prabhu couldn't control his ecstatic symptoms. His body was not under his control. He was crying and he was exhibiting various ecstatic symptoms, sometimes laughing, sometimes crying. A normal man wouldn't be able to understand such a state of mind. That is why the self-realized soul, they seek some privacy. There are two aspects. One is called seclusion, another one is called privacy. Seclusion is detrimental because then I am trying to shield myself away from all the associations. Then naturally I am becoming victim of my own vices. But if I am shielding myself from some worldly associations, then I am being intelligent to not get polluted. In both the verses, letter of instruction, verse number 2 as well as 3. In verse number 2, Atyahara prayasascha prajalpo niyamagraha janasangascha, associating with worldly minded people. Even in other words, utsahat nisyaya dhairya tattat karma pravartana sangatyagat satavrite, associating with the people who are favorable in consciousness. So they are simultaneously to be done. If one is done and another is not done, then there is a challenge. Our entire theme today is about the context of how a self-realized soul conducts oneself and how, when we have to walk that path of self-realization, how we have to conduct ourselves. Whilst today we may not be self-realized, not fully self-realized, the journey is towards the direction, and hence we need to learn some lessons for us to prepare, equip ourselves in the journey of Krishna consciousness. Bhaktya Loka, in that book, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is very nicely explaining the importance of our choices. How a person makes a choice, how a person need to be very vigilant in every action he does and every action he avoids. If there is a mismatch, if there is something wrongly done over there, then there is a serious impact. So we will speak about this arrangement because Nityananda Prabhu is meeting Madhavendra Puri. On one side, his conduct, behavior, his ecstatic mood is beyond the comprehension of a normal man. So, the Lord cannot exhibit, or the Lord cannot be understood by every common man. And the Lord also chooses to interact, meet, associate with some self-realized souls who can both understand the mood of the Lord as well as exhibit such a similar mood. Machitta madgada prana bodhayanta parasparam katayantascha mam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. You will all see in the future sessions what exactly happened when two self-realized souls, when they meet. How Madhavendra Puri responded to Nityananda Prabhu and how Nityananda Prabhu responded when he met Madhavendra Puri. I will leave it to the future speakers to churn that part out. So we are going to talk about two personalities, Nityananda Prabhu and Madhavendra Puri, through one common theme. The theme of characteristics needed to be inculcated in the journey of trying to become Goswamis. As Srila Prabhupada has set us a target that we all practicing devotees in the chain of Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, there is an expectations that Srila Prabhupada has set upon us, which is about us to become Goswamis. So the theme of today's conversation is the characteristics needed to be imbibed if I eventually wish to become a Goswami. Which means if I have made up my mind to become a self-realized soul, if I have made up my mind to walk that unique path, if I have made up my mind to fulfill the orders of our predecessor acharyas, if I have made up my mind to take up all the sacrifices associated in this journey, then let us be focused to discuss in today's discussion some characteristics that are needed to be exhibited. I'm going to divide this conversation into three parts, as usual, in terms of three reflections, and each of them have their own perspectives and reflections within a reflection. The first one is about the technical information from Madhurya Kadambini, wherein a person practicing sadhana bhakti to Krishna Prem, in the journey, there are certain qualifications and criteria, some characteristics that they imbibe. So as a technical information, let us at least know how a person develops the mood of ecstasy. Because if you know the source, if we know the technical information of a person's acquiring ecstatic symptoms, then at least I will start working in the direction, even though I may be far-fetched from the dream. Nowadays, there are a lot of reality shows which really portray the unique skills, humor, singing, few other intellectual skills. These reality shows help the children or an adult portray them. But by the time they portray, and from the time they knew that skills, there is a strenuous endeavor that had gone behind before I even demonstrate what I possess. So similarly, we are all individually potent spirit souls capable of becoming Mahatmas. And there are Mahatmas who are already there, who are already enjoying, relishing Krishna Prem. And I have developed desire to become Mahatma, or I have been told to become Mahatma as a part of my spiritual journey. So I will start my preparation from at least knowing that journey, knowing that path. So my first conversation in today's context is about how does one develop ecstasy? One develop ecstasy according to Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and Madhurya Kadambini. A person develops ecstasy only by two arrangements. Arrangement number one is by abhyasa, practice. And arrangement number two is kripa. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that a person who is approaching towards the process of ecstasy, he definitely exhibits few symptoms. One symptom he exhibits is his prapti abhilasha, which means desire to achieve Krishna. Second is anukulya abhilasha, desire to please Krishna with various services. Third is Saubardha Abhilasha, desire to be close at heart with Krishna. The emotions that Vrindavan Das Thakur is speaking, that Chaitanya Nityananda Prabhu exhibited, is the same emotions Madhavendra Puri exhibited. It's the same emotions some of the students of Madhavendra Puri exhibited. It's the same emotion some of the students of Madhavendra Puri exhibited. It's the same emotion which this parampara delivers without any tinge of adulteration till the nth level in the drum. Shripad Madhavendra Puri, who happens to be a very important personality in the Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya, it is because of Madhavendra Puri, the Madhva became Gaudiya. Or that's when the beginning of Madhva became Gaudiya. The ecstasy and emotions which are unique for a Krishna devotee, for a pure devotee, because his heart is softened. So long as a person is only intellectually accomplished, his heart is not softened. Our heart needs to be softened not by knowledge. Our heart needs to be softened or cannot be softened not by knowledge, neither by only application of that knowledge. When that application is enabled with the blessings from a self-realized soul. So the point is that a person in Krishna conscious journey, as we discussed in last week's Bhagavatam class, we discussed about 3 aspects of Krishna consciousness. Technical aspects of Krishna consciousness, sentimental aspects of Krishna consciousness, and emotional aspect of Krishna consciousness. Technical aspect of Krishna consciousness is knowledge. Knowing the content clearly and correctly. Sentimental aspect of Krishna consciousness is procedural worship, formalities. The emotional context of Krishna consciousness is the mood, the attitude, the intent with both these things need to be performed. Action is correct, procedure is correct, but the intent is wrong. No ecstasy emotions are going to manifest, and the heart is going to become still hard. So for us to become a soft-hearted person, one need to understand the intent and the attitude that is expected of a student. In the purport, very nicely, our translator has written how the knowledge comes down till how the entire parampara is very nicely passing on the knowledge and the mood and the service opportunities. So, for a person to develop the symptom of ecstasy, why we need to develop symptom of ecstasy? Because that is the way forward. There are 2 ways we can present this. One is symptom of ecstasy manifest in such a person who has got certain characteristics, or a person needs to exhibit certain quotients for him to grab that ecstasy. Madhavendra Puri Pad, Nityananda Prabhu, and all the acharyas for that matter, they've exhibited this. So as a part of first reflection, so we are discussing about a technical aspect of it, which is number 1, the ecstasy is exhibited, achieved by practice and by mercy, by sadhana and by kripa. Number 2nd aspect that we discussed in the technical aspect is a person who is aspiring to get ecstatic should show three signs. Sign number one, desire to achieve Krishna, which is called as Prapti Abhilasha. Second is called Anukulya Abhilasha, which means desire to please Krishna with various services. And number three is about Saubardha Abhilasha, which means desire to be close at heart with Krishna. The third aspect that we discussed in terms of technical understanding is, if a person needs to develop, inculcate ecstasy, his heart cannot be hard. The heart, to emulate emotions and ecstasy, it needs to be softer. And the heart becomes softer when a person understands the emotional aspect of Krishna consciousness. The emotional aspect of Krishna consciousness is about attitude, intent, more than the formality and content. The fourth point that we discussed with respect to the technical understanding is, these emotions can only be inherited when we associate it with self-realized soul. Otherwise, emotions are not passed on. So why we need to learn from a self-realized soul? Why we need, for example, to argue this, I may be, challenged, but this is my understanding. We do have Bhaktivedanta purports. There are ideologies where people think that if I associate with Bhaktivedanta purports alone, I am protected. It's a very correct statement. But how Bhaktivedanta purports will help us to understand the context. But to live that context, we need mercy of those who have received mercy of Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. So we need a living spiritual authority, spiritual guru, spiritual personality from whom only we can inherit the emotional Krishna consciousness, which will fulfill all the four. And hence, Tirtha Yatras, visiting holy places, visiting temples, visiting satsangs, going to our spiritual authority's house, they are not meant for social or some entertaining purpose. They are meant for grabbing that emotional consciousness, emotional portion of Krishna consciousness. If you understand this sutra, then very soon down the line, we will be able to also resonate and exhibit the emotions exhibited by great personalities. It's very clear and there is no doubt in this. And the way this mercy will flow is by Vachika, by Darshana, by Hridaya, by Harda. Which means Vachika means by hearing the sound vibration from the self-realized soul, by Darshane, Pavitra Koro, Ei Tumar Gun, by personal Darshana, and as well as by heart to heart. In case of Ishvara Puri and Madhavendra Puri, it was a heart-to-heart relationship. In case of Advaita Charya and Madhavendra Puri, in case of Pundarika Vidyanidhi and Madhavendra Puri, in case of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Swarup Damodar Goswami, in case of Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada and Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, in case of Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada and his disciples, you see, there is no contradiction. They could understand the spiritual master's heart and they bring a smile in his face. So to conclude my first reflection, Let us be technically clear. Let us be technically sound to understand where does ecstasy come from. Otherwise, who knows, in our own journey in Krishna consciousness sometime down the line, we might classify some self-realized soul as some joker or somebody who is a mad person. In our journey to Krishna consciousness, thanks to Srila Prabhupada, thanks to our great Vaishnava Acharyas, to have given us this much information so that we don't, suppose for example, if we had not got to know so many details about Sanatana Goswami, Rupa Goswami, all the 6 Goswamis, hypothetically, if we are, transported to Vrindavan during those days, you would have not recognized who Sanatana Goswami was, because he was not like a, showing off a sadhu. He was living as a mendicant. Tyaktva turnam asesha mandalapati shrenim sada tuchavat bhutva dina ganesa kau karunaya kau pina kantashutau. So they all relinquished all the worldly affairs and just simply remained like a mendicant. Externally looked like a pauper. Internally, they were so rich that Krishna wanted to stay with them. Even though they said, this is what we can. One day, Madan Mohan challenged Sanatana Goswami, saying that how long you will give me this dry roti, dry chapatis. Sanatana Goswami could say that if you want to stay with me, that's all you will get. You want to go and have, wonderful feast? Sure. There are other arrangements, you can figure that out. Can you imagine that statement? So that's ecstasy. So here Nityananda Prabhu is coming to Sri Madhavendra Puri, and that is the purpose of us going to Dham. We discussed in one of the earlier sessions, by going to Dham, we are supposed to actually see a living Vaishnava for that 4th point that we said, to draw the emotional quotient of Krishna consciousness. To get the technical quotient of Krishna consciousness is not difficult. Of course, it is rare, but not so difficult. We can become scholarly. To get the sentimental quotient of Krishna consciousness is also not so difficult. But the whole Krishna consciousness becomes complete in its pure state only because of the middle portion, which is about the emotions, the mood, the intent, the attitude, which is only passed on by a living spiritual authority. Of course, on the basis of scriptural understanding, but we need Vapu, we need living. Vachika, Darshana, Hridaya. That is how mercy flows. Vachika means you hear the sound vibration. That is why when you see self-realized soul, they give their blessings by their words. They bless. Krishna Matirastu. May you always remember Krishna. May you always be engaged in service of Krishna. That is mercy. In fact, it is the service of a self-realized soul. What is the duty of a sadhaka? To serve the self-realized soul. What is the service of the self-realized soul? To bless the sadhaka. In fact, it is their service. Of course, we cannot go and dictate the rights. Say, hey, because it's your service, better you bless me. That's not the spirit. But they serve. By being up there in that position, they serve. How do they serve? They know, unless I enable them, unless I give them the license, unless I empower them, the vehicle will not move forward, so they give their blessings. In fact, in our Vedic tradition, this happens right from one's house. It is taught to seek the blessings of elders. Sometimes elders tell, please go and please take my blessings. I mean, it may sound unusual, but they used to teach their children, please take my blessings and go. It's not just arrogance. It's not always seen as arrogance. Sometimes it is also to help us teach. So that's my first reflection. So in the journey of our preparing to gain the ecstasy and the Krishna consciousness emotions, so this is the first set of characteristics that we need to imbibe. The second set of characteristics is to learn to make choices. Because when I have to derive ecstasy, transcendental ecstasy, when I have to enter the realm of spiritual consciousness, before even that realm is accessible to me, several other layers have to be, wither away. So hence, choices become a very obvious one. Let's see from Madhavendra Puri how he chose. Shripad Madhavendra Puri is making his choices wisely. His choice of association. There are 6 types of teachers and guide. Madhavendra Puri rejects. Choice is in the first category, the first reflection we spoke about what we need to inherit, what we need to imbibe. The second section, we're going to talk about what we need to relinquish or give up. So, Madhavendra Puripad is telling about 6 types of teachers and guide and how he deals with them. The shloka goes like this. Mugdam mam nikadantu niti nepuna brantam muhur padikam bandam bandava sanchaya jada diyam muktadara shodaraha unmattam viveka chaturaha kamam mahadambikam moktum nakshamate managapi mano govinda padaspraham. The translation is, let the sharp moralist accuse me of being illusioned. I do not mind. Experts in Vedic activities may slander me as being misled. Friends and relatives may call me frustrated. My brothers may call me a fool. The wealthy Mammonites may point me out as mad. The learned philosophers may assert that I am much too proud. Still, my mind does not budge an inch from the determination to serve the lotus feet of Govinda, though I am unable to do it. So, Madhavendra Puripad is telling 6 types of people. He says, number 1, moralists accuse me of being illusioned. Because many times people say that you guys are brainwashing young children. In the earlier days of ISKCON, there were allegations that ISKCON is trying to take younger generation and brainwashing them. So sometimes certain class of people, group of people who couldn't comprehend this, they accused. But Prabhupada was completely undeterred. He said that yes, we are washing the brain, not just washing the brain, we are actually giving brain. So the point is that from the modern morality standpoint, certain activities may be logically unexplainable. So Madhavendra Puri says, as a choice, because I understand and choose to walk the path of devotional ecstasy, I am okay to be accused as immoral. Of course, the real understanding, the real statement is we are transcendental and our dear Prabhupada disciple, I forgot his name, very good friend of mine, he lives in UK. He explains, Krishna consciousness devotees are not transcendental to morality. They do have transcendental morality, which means the morality that they follow has its own formula and foundation, and the direction towards that is for absolute happiness and absolute Krishna consciousness. So moralists accuse me as being illusioned. The so-called materialistic moralist may accuse me. I don't mind. Second, he says, experts of Vedas accuse me of not being in the right Vedic path. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was questioned. We had one whole chapter in Chaitanya Charitamrita where there are two chapters actually, where Mahaprabhu had to explain, eventually transform a group of Mayavadis. Prakashananda Saraswati and his team couldn't comprehend. You are a sannyasi. How come you dance like a madman? But Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu very patiently, quietly handled them and eventually transformed them. So sometimes half-baked knowledge is so dangerous than having no knowledge. At least no knowledge person will be classified as ignorant. If he could somehow, inculcate a sense of humility, that ignorant person could be transformed very easily than a person who is having half-baked knowledge. So, Madhavendra Puripad says, I may be classified as a person who is not being in the right Vedic path. It is okay. I don't mind. The Brahmanas in Vrindavan deserve their wives. Famous. Everybody know the outcome. Initially, from a public viewpoint, these people are learned people. Prabhupada says, Phalena parichiyate, your learnedness is tested when your actions are evaluated. The third, friends and relatives call me frustrated. Sometimes people say that you have become bhakt because you couldn't be, happy in this life. You're a frustrated guy. You're a boring guy. You're an useless guy. But the devotee knows that material life is impossible. It is a fire. Why should I go and burn myself? Sanda and Amanda were with Prahlad to see his activities and they were surprised. But where did this guy get this knowledge from? Sometimes even the demons get, demons were very surprised. Oh my God, how do I handle these devotees? They're so difficult to handle. Because you cannot threaten them, you cannot harass them, you cannot penalize them. Whatever you do, they will not give up Krishna. Those of you must have studied the Salted Bread book. The earlier days of Krishna consciousness in USSR or whatever that time was called. So you could never make a devotee. Yesterday, we heard a news. Some devotees in the Food for Life camp They were serving, distributing prasadam, serving. They were attacked. They were killed. Innocent. So friends and relatives call us pagal, useless, mad, frustrated guy. Madhavendra Puri says, I may be classified, I don't mind. Brothers may call me mad. Vibhishana and many of us. Gauranga Prabhu once mentioned a very interesting story. He and Govind Prabhu went to Chennai, and he said that Govind Prabhu gave a class to Gauranga Prabhu's family members, and in the part of the class, Govind Prabhu explained that how if one person is a very nice devotee, then few generations are looked after, 7 generations are looked after. They all get the benefit and they are personally taken care by the Lord. He said, up till that point in time, my family thought I was mad. After studying IIT, I gave up my qualification and to become a monk. After that class, they all came to me and said that aap achhe se bhakti karo, do very nice devotion. Not because they liked it, because they heard the message that one person do Krishna consciousness nicely. So many people get benefited. So they were all motivating me to be a very nice devotee. So sometimes our own family, our own relatives, our own neighbors, our own friends, they don't understand us. So brothers may call me mad. I wouldn't, take it offensive. Wealthy Mammoites consider me a fool. Rupa and Sanatana, they were governors in Nawab Hussain Shah's assembly. They gave that up and became a mendicant. And learned philosophers may call us proud. So, Madhavendra Puri Pad says, because he says, you look at the last point, he says, still my mind does not budge an inch from determination to serve the lotus feet of Govinda, though I am unable to do it. I am still struggling. I am still trying to practice my devotional life. I am still trying to catch up to my Krishna consciousness quotient, but I will definitely not give that up because I am still not able to make it. I will explore some other path. A similar prayer is been made by Tukaram Maharaj. I have been told by Haridas Varya to sing an abhang. I see him online today. So I just remembered how Tukaram Maharaj is asking a similar prayer. I'll just recollect one small abhang wherein he is making a similar prayer to Madhavendra Puri, which means what choice a person make. If I have to become a self-realized soul, he has to make a choice. And the choice, let's see what Tukaram Maharaj is making. It's very small abhang. Anika dusare majanam himatam nemelaya chitam basuniyam panduranga dhyanim pandurangamanim jagrutim swapnim pandurangam patile valanam indriyam sakalam bhavato nirala nahim tuzam dukamane netrim keli olaganam tatastatem dhyana Vitevari. The meaning of this is Tukaram Maharaj is praying in his wish list, in his choice list. Anika Dusare. In my chitta, from this point in time, I will not have anyone else but for Panduranga. I have made up my mind that in my consciousness, in my thinking, I will have only Vittala. Ne meleyar chita bhasuniyam. Then he says, Panduranga dhyanim, Pandurangamanim, Jakritim, Swapnim, Panduranga. Both when I am awake as well as I am sleeping, in my dream, I will have Panduranga. As Madhavendra Puripad is saying, that I am determined to serve the lotus feet of Govinda, even though I am unable to do it. Which means I am not going to give it up. The whole world will accuse me. I will not give up. Patilen balana indriyam sakalam. He says that my entire senses, all my senses will only serve Panduranga. As we just spoke in the first reflection, what was that? The reflection was about how Anukulya Abhilasha, a person who is desiring ecstasy, is interested in serving the Supreme Lord. He says, in my bhava, in my consciousness, in my desire, I will have Vittala. And Dukhamane Netrim Kele Ogana. He says that I am going to put it into my routine. But the direction, my vision, my direction is going to be on the same footsteps towards Vittala. And this is how he is programming himself. There are more desires Tukaram Maharaj has expressed in different abhangas. I had definitely, had a desire to understand this is not only Gaudiya Vaishnavas, several other Vaishnavas, Sri Vaishnavas. One of the Sri Vaishnava Acharya is, singing in his Pasuram. He's saying, Tuppudayare adaivadellam sorvidethu tunayavarendre Oppilenagin unai adindhen யானைக்கு நீ அருள் செய்தமையால் எய்ப்பு என்னை வந்து நலியும் போது அங்கு ஏதும் நான் உன்னை நினைக்க மாட்டேன் அப்போதைக்கு இப்போதே சொல்லி வைத்தேன் அரங்கத்தரவணே பள்ளியானே. All are them very clear. They are saying that I do not know at the time of my death, at the time of my distress, at the time of my trouble, if I will be able to remember you or not. So I will program myself right now. So my second reflection that I want to conclude here by saying, if we have to walk the path of ecstasy, if we have to walk the path of transcendental Krishna consciousness, and I learn to make a choice, and then learn for what to do, I learn to make a choice of what I will not do. I learn to make a choice in spite of all the challenges, how I will conduct myself and program myself. And the last reflection, the third reflection in this current context is, in our journey of Krishna consciousness, when we are talking about ecstatic symptoms, ecstatic emotions, whilst we are trying to become a missionary, This is the third component where Nityananda Prabhu, Madhavendra Puri, and several list of his followers, all the way down to Srila Prabhupada, they were all in that in that clan, in that category. But because they had to rescue us, because they had to win us from Maya, they did not exhibit these emotions and ecstasy. In the first place, they had given this emotion and ecstasy in a very, very systematic, organized manner. Otherwise, we would have flipped away. The third aspect of it is a self-realized soul, a person who is walking the path of ecstasy, is still having the responsibility of being a missionary. He tries to exhibit his ecstatic emotions in a confidential private forum, as I mentioned at the beginning. And the confidential private forum cannot be a sadhaka assembly. That is why Prabhupada, seldom we would have heard. Srila Prabhupada was trying to become very emotional and crying and weeping and try to exhibit any of his emotions. He did in few places. And that's why Prabhupada says, we are not show bottle sadhus. We are sadhus where we try to bring somebody ground up. So the ecstatic emotions associated with Krishna consciousness is actually private, confidential, gradual, and it is only revealed according to one's reciprocation. So in our journey to Krishna consciousness, in our association with the spiritual masters, in our association with our spiritual authorities, if we are able to conduct ourselves better, we will be able to see that side of them. We will be able to enjoy that side of them. We will be given access to that side of them. Otherwise, we will have to yearn that path, yearn that journey for us to get that side, to see as well as to learn, as well as to inherit. We definitely have to inherit, but today it is kept confidential and private. So the third reflection has got two parts. Part number one, from the side of an ecstatic person, they try to maintain confidentiality and privacy and exhibit only in certain forums. That is why when they go to Tirtha Yatras, they congregate. Look at the places where all these people assembled. They assembled in a very private place where there are less worldly affairs, no worldly affairs. So that is how they exhibited exchanges. Bodhayanta parasparam, katayantascha mam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. The second aspect of it, the third reflection is from the side of a practitioner, to grab that side, to enjoy that side, to participate in that side, to serve in that side, we need to prepare ourselves, push ourselves through the first and second reflections, by which we will be taught gradually, exposed gradually. That's why Prabhupada says, when devotees ask Srila Prabhupada, when will they get the Swarupa Siddhi? Prabhupada says, please perform your practices religiously at an appropriate time. You will definitely get the spiritual master reveal your spiritual emotions or spiritual stature. So my third reflection hence is that in the journey of transcendental ecstasy, there is always a private and confidentiality. That is why, recently I heard some lecture or some conversations, they say that we need a forum. Right, Madhavananda Prabhu mentioned in one of the lectures. Madhavananda Prabhu mentioned that there are so many intricate, deep-rooted, ecstatic conversations in Krishna consciousness, which is not generally publicly spoken, and we need a forum to speak, and we need to speak. That is why Acharyas have written them. But whom to speak is a big question mark. If you don't get to learn them, don't get to dive into them, which is the real Krishna consciousness. Right now, all our endeavor is going from minus to zero. That itself is a great achievement. We have a celebration. Suppose we have gone from minus state to the state of being zero, being neutral, being, non-agitated, clean state. What is become ecstatic state and happiness state? You have not even, entered that zone. So Prabhu was mentioning that in one of the class during the Rath Yatra, he was mentioning that it is a duty of a practitioner work through that, seek an association, stay in that association, serve in that association to enjoy that sweetest mellow in Krishna consciousness, which is about the transcendental loving exchanges of Krishna and his dear devotees and the intricate emotions that they shared. For all of us, at least people like me, those emotions are meaningless today. Okay, Krishna loved devotees. Okay, tell next. We are information mongers. What Krishna did next? I just want information. That is how I am programmed. But in Vrindavan, in the transcendental loving relationship between the Krishna and his devotees was so intense that even the smallest thing is celebrated. The way Krishna holds his flute, the way Krishna's ankle bells look like, the way Krishna's face is decorated, there's a festival by itself. So those are the confidential, deeper emotions we need to penetrate into, we need to get into, and this Sankirtan mission is capable of giving us access to that zone. That zone is still available now, right now, 2022. Some devotees in our Gaudiya Vaishnava Siddhanta, they have achieved those stages. Those devotees are moving, walking around us. But they are not exhibiting to you and me, or at least to me for sure. Because the receiver frequency is still not, associated with that wavelength. But somehow, if he put us through this process of making right choices and decisions, we will also enjoy the ecstasy, the emotions that Krishna consciousness offers. So I would like to stop here. If there are any questions or comments or any reflections or criticisms, I'll be happy to reflect and respond. Shri Caitanya Bhagavat Adi Jai, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Nitai Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. What a beautiful class. I mean, not beautiful, honestly. It is like, you always give so many food for thought. It's like we cannot just hear and get, it's not just class is over. It remains with us even after the class. So that's the very, very, uniqueness of your class, Prabhu. So I don't want to just say beautiful and get, just say something for the sake of, but it's really very, very thought-provoking class, Prabhu. I myself have 4 questions, but I'll let others go. And if nobody raise their hand or ask question, then there is Kirti Dasundari. Mataji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dhanvat pranams, and glories to Prabhupada, glories to you, Prabhu. Excellent session. Never even thought of in that direction, as never aspired to become so ecstatic. But after your class, some feelings developed, and hopefully, as you said, that in service of the great Vaishnavas, and as you said, mercy, that definitely our endeavor is needed, but more it depends upon the mercy. So thank you for this wonderful session, and thank you once again for making my South India trip so blissful. I know without your guidance, it would have been impossible. So I'm really indebted to you. My question is a very small question. Actually, what is the relationship between Nityananda Prabhu and Madhavendra Puri? Because in Caitanya Bhagavat, both the things are mentioned, that they are God brothers and they are spiritual master and disciple. Like, what's actually the relationship? Thank you, Prabhu.
My understanding is that they are God brothers. That's my understanding. And another perspective of them being one being a spiritual master, another being a disciple cannot be negated just because Nityananda Prabhu is Adi Guru. See the in this purport only, Prabhu has very nicely elaborated where he has explained how Madhavendra Puri happened to be a very important junction, in the juncture from Madhva to Gaudiya's turn started from Sripad Madhavendra Puri. So, my understanding initially it was because Nityananda Prabhu also took formal initiation similar to Madhavendra Puri's. So, I guess both sides are true, but primarily my understanding is they are God brothers. Maybe there are other scholars who may clarify this.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhu, because in Caitanya Bhagavat only it's mentioned that Nityananda Prabhu and Madhavendra Puri, when they met, they embraced as if they're the God brothers.
The very next set of slokas is that only.
It is mentioned that Nityananda Prabhu is the disciple of Madhavendra. Okay, yeah. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much. And thank you for your association. Thank you for your guidance always. Hare Krishna. Dandavat pranams.
Hare Krishna.
Balabrinda, you want to go?
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I really liked your class.
Thank you, dear.
Thank you for your association, Brinda. Nitya Narasimha Prabhu, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat pranam. So many take-home messages, and it is really a static class, Prabhuji. Thank you very much. Prabhuji, my question is like, it is quite natural that we get symptoms when we are strict in our sadhana and when we are pure in our services. Is that wrong, Prabhu, if we get some aesthetic symptoms? What I see is, in Krishna conscious movement, we don't express in public, that is true. But like when you see the preachers, like from other sampradaya, like example, Devakanandan Thakur or Aniruddha Prabhu or somebody, they are doing like sapta or what to say, long programs, and when they sing, when they glorify Srimad Bhagavatam, they express in public the symptoms of that, maybe coming tears from the eyes or whatever. Is that wrong, or how to take that one, Prabhu? Kindly enlighten on that.
My understanding is, Prabhu, it is like the ecstatic symptoms that we experience is real, but we are not expected to dwell on that. When I say dwell on that, meaning it is definitely an acknowledgement for the devotional sentiments that you exhibit, but it is also something that we need to make it consistent. If you remember Narada Muni's pastimes, Narada Muni in his previous life, he got glimpse of darshan of Paramatma. When he was enjoying that, he finally lost that vision. Then the message that he got was, he has to yearn through his life, work very, serve very enthusiastically with all dedication, so that in the very next life, he will be given the full reward. The reward that he got right now was just a teaser, as an acknowledgement to say that he is in the right path. Please do it. Show your consistency, so that at the right moment you will be given the full license, full access. So in our journey to Krishna consciousness, Prabhupada many times say that the ecstasy that we derive in our Krishna consciousness services is real. But the goal is not to just get the glimpse. If just getting the glimpse itself is pleasing, what to speak of living that moment, not living the same consciousness throughout. The biggest challenge for us in this material world is everyone is interested in creating moments. We are the only movement who is working towards creating lifestyle. Otherwise, the normal world is interested in creating moments. If you see, the latest trend in social media is about creating moments. What is selfie? Is creating moments, registering moments. even though it is fake, they want to create memories which is fake or which is unreal. But we are not interested in moments. We are interested in movement. We are interested in complete transformation. We are interested in lifestyle. So the moments, ecstatic moments, goosebumps, all sorts of feeling like crying, separation, hair standing on the end, all of them are, I wouldn't say unreal. There may be some scenarios of unreality also, but in general, it is not so, fake, especially when it is private. But the message here is one has to work through to eventually transform our sporadic Krishna consciousness to a consistent Krishna consciousness. Does it make sense, Prabhu?
Yeah, thank you very much, Prabhuji. And follow-up question, Prabhu, like you made about the statement, right choices and decisions. Like, may I ask, Prabhu, since you are very senior, what right choices and decisions you made in your life? So that we can learn from.
Publicly, I am still in the same, path as Madhavendra Puri Path is saying, no, I am unable to do it, but I am trying to, fight it out. That's a state of mind. I am not made choices, but I'm thinking or working, failing, falling. So we are in the stage of a baby who's trying to walk, fall down, then once again climb up, fall down, once again climb up, fall down, not trying to give up. So if at all there is any credit that can be given to the spiritual standards that we have set so far is we are not giving up. We are not giving it up. We are still trying. And that is a very great, achievement, at least at this point in time. And the good thing is, the transformation is not a time-consuming process. The transformation cannot happen immediately. To prepare myself to be transforming is a time-consuming process. I'll give an example. Suppose there is a wet grass. The grass is wet. Suppose if you burn, it is not going to burn. But if you go on exposing that grass to fire, after some point in time, the grass is going to burn. So what was happening is, right in the first scenario, first time instance itself, the grass, when it came in contact with fire, there was a transformation. But it was invisible. But when the grass finished off, evaporated all the water particles, when it became dry, no moment, it got fire. Prabhupada gives this example in teachings of Lord Kapila, the example of a cow, wet cow dung and dry cow dung patties. Sometimes Prabhupada says that the wet cow dung may look at dry cow dung patties and laugh. Hey, you are burning. You see, I am still cool. Prabhupada says only a few moments later when the cow dung is going to dry, it will also going to get burned. Of course, you are telling in another context. But the message here is the process of Krishna consciousness for us to achieve transformation. It is no moment, very immediately. One time one devotee asked Srila Prabhupada in a Bhagavatam class, it's a very famous video that was circulating. One devotee asked, how long it will take for us to become self-realized soul? Prabhupada says immediately. But how long it will take us for us to come to the state of mind to convince myself that I want to get transformed? So the preparation to prepare myself to get admitted in the school of Krishna consciousness takes time. The day I am admitted, and the same day, the same moment I am transformed. So all this currently that we are trying to do now is preparation for the transformation. The transformation is instantaneous. The moment somebody comes in contact with Krishna and Krishna's holy name and his devotees, the transformation is instantaneous. Makes sense, Prabhu?
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Parima Mataji, Prabhu, Haridas Varya Prabhu also has 2 questions, but we have Parima
Haridas
Mataji.
Varya has a question. My God, okay.
If Prabhu, you are in hurry, then you can go ahead. Yeah, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. Can you hear me?
Yes, dear. How are you?
I'm good. I felt much better when you sang. So I felt very nice. I've been
No,
telling
I
devotees.
want to keep the promise that you gave.
I am not in a position to order you, but that you are always my elder brother. So thank you so much for honoring it. I've been hearing as neighbors always your Abang, so I thought the whole world should listen to it. So I have 2 questions. Thank you so much for the insightful points. First question is, how much should a devotee intellectually think about a near-like feeling of ecstasy if he has witnessed it or he has realized it either in kirtan or either should he think about, because it's very addictive, right? It's the fruit of what we are trying to achieve. So it's not possible that we don't think about it. We would like to taste it again, and it's addictive. So if we felt something nice in Krishna consciousness, we would like to taste it again and again and again. So, but how much should a person put a thought to it? How much should he intellectually think about, okay, what gave me ecstasy, what did not? How much should he do that? That's question number 1. Question number 2 is, we do see in these pastimes that Nityananda Prabhu, by seeing another devotee of the Lord, is feeling ecstatic symptoms. And while seeing devotees, we feel ecstasy. How do you cultivate that aspect of it rather than deities alone?
So regarding the first question, my understanding and response would be that we can exhibit, dwell in such feelings, provided such feelings are expressed to our superiors, not to our subordinates. There are 2 reasons to this. When we are exhibiting such feelings to our superiors, because they know us, they will be able to hold the correct nerve, either to fan it or snap it. If I exhibit that feeling to my junior, there are two resultant outcomes. One is they will glorify and put you up, which is more dangerous. And second is your ego and the quotient of submissiveness and surrender in the path is very detrimental. So that is why I was telling this private and confidentiality. So as you said, it's contagious when you get ecstatic emotions. It's very contagious, but it's very carefully to be handled, extremely carefully to be handled. So it is like to be, held very, that's my understanding, held very nicely and say that, okay, some, by Guru and Krishna's mercy, some progress is seemingly happening. So let me go to my Gurudev and offer it and say that, Gurudev, it is because of you I felt so and so. Prabhu, because of you I felt so and so. My dear mother, father, because of you I felt so and so. And please keep giving your, showering your mercy. Please, polish me more so that, I can make it from the sporadic state to a consistent state. In Anishtita Bhajana Kriya, Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakur is listing 6 different types of Anishtita. One of them is, swinging ways, sway between too much of Krishna conscious ecstatic, and another side is too shallow feelings. So that is why such emotions I have seen devotees sharing. Some devotees shared with me, I have shared with some of my seniors, but they are very private, very confidential, and the reason it is meant private and confidential is to protect the sanctity of it, or to kill the the baselessness of it, either way around. So from that perspective, these ecstasies and emotions are definitely need to be nurtured on, yearned for, but handled in the right forum. Number 2 is with respect to developing the ecstasy when we meet Vaishnavas. There are 3 parts to this. One part is a very funny one, but don't experiment on this. Try to be dry without Vaishnava association for 1 month. So you will have no problem of jumping up and down. I have gone through that. I was one time in a place called Košice, in a place, very remote place in Slovakia. Okay, it was not even a month, probably 2 weeks. I was in Slovakia, and it was minus 19 degrees. Snowfall there, and there was no proper food. Thankfully, I was put in a place where I could cook, and but I didn't have any fun. 2 weeks of back-to-back meetings and discussions, and I was completely dry, and I was all alone, completely different time zones. So I'm talking about 7, 8, 9 years before. Then 2 weeks later, I was to go to Brussels or somewhere. So then from Slovakia to Prague, I went to Prague ISKCON temple, Czech Republic temple, same minus 19 degrees. One Brahmachari Prabhu picked me up at night 9 o'clock from the airport and drove me to the temple, gave me sumptuous prasadam, gave a wonderful accommodation, looked after me like a royal king. Trust me, I cried in front of Prabhupada. I never knew that Prabhu. He never knew me. We are nobody to each other. But that Prabhu and also the entire temple looked after us, and the next day or the 2 days later, they dropped me in the airport. So that's when I felt that we are part of a family and we are supposed to reciprocate them. So my understanding is that he helped me, looked after me, which Prabhupada tells me now it is your duty to look after somebody else in some other part of the world. We may say that I am supposed to look after him because he looked after me. That is not arithmetic here. The arithmetic here is you are looked after by Prabhupada through his sons. So you, being his follower, you have to make sure that anyone who comes to you or an opportunity comes to you, you should look after them. I was so ecstatic. So one option is to try, but we cannot force ourselves into it. That's a scenario. But the remaining two is the second one is about, in general, I have seen when we are appreciative, not flattering, when we are genuinely appreciative in our conversations, the conversation brings an ecstasy itself, and you will feel very appreciative of not only each other's qualities, appreciative of the qualities of Krishna consciousness, the way it has transformed our lives. It is very natural because bodhayanta parasparam katayantascha mamityam tushyanticha ramanticha. When Krishna uses the word ramanticha, it is pleasing. It means the moment you talk about Krishna and Krishna's Leela, and I also talk about Krishna and Krishna's Leela, then because for both of us he is a single hero, naturally we feel like laughing, joking and enjoying and hugging and crying those moments because for both we are same hero. Recently there was a Bakrid celebrations in front of Shah Rukh Khan's house. There were around 500 boys and girls jumping Shah Rukh Khan. Hey Shah Rukh, some of them were crying, literally shedding tears, and that person came to the balcony and waving up as if he's some sort of a god. If some normal materialistic, bogus relationship, if somebody sensually could shed so much of emotions and tears, when we have a common hero who is the Supreme Lord and his dear sons, so we will definitely have that. Natural, it's very but natural. And the third scenario in which we will feel ecstatic is when you give Krishna to others. When you give Krishna to others, and when you hear how Krishna reached a person and transformed his life, when you hear that story, you will feel ecstatic. That is why one of the components in a Vaishnavacharya's life, Vaishnava's life, is about hearing the pastimes of a Vaishnavacharyas. Because when you hear the pastimes of a Vaishnavacharya, 9 out of 10 instances you will cry. Maybe you will not cry, hearing Krishna Leela. But 9 out of 10 instances, you hear Tukaram Maharaj's Leela, you hear Prabhupada's Leela Amrita. I am not sure if anybody who would have read Prabhupada's Leela Amrita had not shed a tear. for sure you will, because they will know the transformation, it is real. It is not some sort of a utopian dream. So these are all some of the ways by which I think we can, emulate, express, exhibit ecstatic symptoms. I'm sure there are zillion other more ways, but these are all that I can think of here.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Prabhu, for highlighting and insightfully saying so. I feel I'm in Slovakia now in -19. You are there. You should fly to Brussels and to Dubai and come and give an association. Hare Krishna.
Hari Guru.
Thank you for the beautiful question and the beautiful answer, Prabhuji. Panima Mataji, you want to go ahead?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Again, this class was very insightful, Prabhuji. One question that arose in my mind, maybe I must have asked before, but it is that, Prabhuji, you said that we should aspire to be like the Goswamis, and in that, and the whole process that you actually described, that how we can, go towards there. But Prabhuji, personally, for me at least, I felt it's like I'm a glowworm and I'm desiring to be the sun, Prabhuji. And also that even if I do desire, which I think I should, but the tests and the austerity that they observed, I don't think I'm capable of withstanding all that, Prabhuji. So how do you, give motivation to yourself to make such an aspiration, Prabhuji?
On a lighter note, just a joke for a joke, we do not want climax. We always want result after climax. But the reality of the life is, the result is only offered when you have to go through the climax. Which means, generally, that's why Prabhupada gives this example, of course, in a different context, he says that we always want the golden egg. I'm not saying you are like that, but I'm saying in general.
Yes, Prabhuji, I'm also like that.
No, I'm also like that in the case, but I'm saying the process of getting that golden egg laid by that, hen is little cumbersome. But a very interesting point is, which we generally tend to forget, when Gurudev, when Krishna, when the process is putting us to walk and claim a very tall path, the process also send the necessary blessings and strength to walk that path. Indradumna Maharaj made a very nice point. He says, when a Gurudev is sending a blessings to his disciple, when a Gurudev is sending a service to his disciple, along with this service, he is sending the blessings also to execute that service. Otherwise, the service cannot be executed. I repeat, if a spiritual master is giving a service to a disciple, the service comes encapsulated with blessings. It is like I'm asking you to please buy 5 laptops for me and send it to India. And I'm also sending money for you to buy, including your gas bill. There is no problem. The point is, if I say, Mataji, 5 laptops kharid ke bhej dena, baad mein dekhenge. So then there will be a sort of, oh my God, Ramgiridhari, I glorified him, suddenly he's asking 5 laptops, what is he not going to pay? So much of anxiety you'll get into it. So Gurudev is not just giving service, not putting us in challenges, not trying to go through all those austerities. Those austerities are actually blessings, because it is like a mother after becoming like a girl after becoming pregnant in the motherhood. Every pain she enjoys. I'm not sure, which stage of life you are in. I'm sure.
Yes, Prabhuji, I'm a mother.
Yeah, so in the motherhood period, you remember, I am sure, if a person has really analyzed that, every pain is actually bringing in some sort of pleasure also. The pleasure is because we're going to see the result soon. We're going to see the result soon. And the moment you saw the result, those pain is gone. And a person voluntarily get into that pain. Of course, there's a moments of pleasure in sex, but then there is a pain of 10 months and the pain of bringing up the child. But everybody go through that because there is a pleasure associated with that. Krishna consciousness is much, 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 much better than that. And we have so many support systems and the person who is apparently giving you pain is the one who is going to rescue you and going to give you a hug. So what is the fear?
Yes,
We may
Prabhuji.
have some fear because of our novice, because of our not experienced that. But if you are in the same bandwagon, you are not alone. There are 10 other devotees along with you. Bindas. Krishnadas, Bindas.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for encouraging me like this. Prabhuji, one small follow-up question, Prabhuji. How is it that Madhvendra Puri and Nityanand Prabhu, they are God brothers? And who is their, I forgot, who is their guru then?
No. So, okay. I think I...
Lakshmipati Tirtha. Lakshmipati.
Okay,
It is there
so
in the
yes, Lakshmipati Tirtha is also the guru of Nityanand Prabhu in some respect. Okay, I didn't know that.
If you read the purport, the descriptions are mentioned. Of course, in this case, Nityananda Prabhu's name is not specifically referred, but the disciplic succession is very nicely explained in the text number 154 purport.
Okay. Text number 154 purport. Okay, I'll go through it again. I kind of forgot. Yes, Prabhuji. Okay, thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for your wonderful class. Dandavat pranam, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Prabhuji, there's a question from Jyoti Mataji in the chat. It's
Hare
about-
Krishna. Please for today, please accept my mind consistent of willing, thinking, feelings. The feelings are not in control, right? It will be purified in study sadhana, but can be validated by seniors, right? Thinking we can work on, willing is sankalp. So what heart functions and develops? I mean, what it consists of emotions. Then how validate those or verify such emotions, because I can be fooled by emotions at any time. Very nice question in the sense that yes, that is why we should never just accept our emotions as reality in general. First of all, emotions means feeling happy, elated, ecstatic, and relieved of bonding. That's emotion. Ecstatic emotions. So you feel lighter. Generally, when we are in this material frame of mind, we feel very much heavy. We feel very much burdened. We feel very much head-weighted, very much bothered. But at the state of ecstasy, ecstatic emotions, you feel lighter. You feel accomplished. You feel simple. You feel there's no burden carrying behind you. That's a general feeling. I mean, these are all various explanations. But in the state of Krishna consciousness, whether our emotions are right or our emotions are in the right frame of mind, that is why I was explaining to Haridas Varya Prabhu's question. So it is better to express such emotions. If you just get sporadic emotions, maybe make a note of it. Maybe it is an acknowledgement for the service that you have done. Don't think it is always unreal, but don't dwell on it. When I say don't dwell on it, don't think that yes, today I saw Krishna, today I felt Krishna. Don't feel like too much pride or accomplished, because such feelings are very, 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 short-lived. But for sure, to be doubly sure, we can share that to your spiritual authorities. Yeah, I felt so and so. On a lighter note, one girl went to Srila Prabhupada. So she said, Swamiji, your chanting that you taught us is so wonderful, that when I chant, a red light come in front of my eyes when I chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So Srila Prabhupada very jokingly, Aram he said, keep chanting, that red light will also go away. So sometimes we may think that certain symptomatic emotions are part of our achievement in Krishna consciousness. So a guru or a spiritual authority can easily validate, because they observe you closely. Even though you don't observe them, they observe you. Prabhupada said to Jagat Chakshur Prabhu, said, 2 eyes are always watching you, be careful. Because he had the habit of stealing Mahaprasadam. So he gave them initiation, he gave his name as Jagat Chakshur Das, the Lord with universal vision. The previous day of initiation only he stole, Sandesh from Jagannath's Mahaplate before even it was offered. Prabhu was sharing that I was so having weakness towards sweets, I couldn't control myself. I used to steal from Jagannath's plate before even Jagannath have it. The next day, I was given initiation. 16 of us were taking initiation. Only my name, Prabhupada called and said, "You know what is the meaning of this name? Name is Jagat Chakshur Das, the Lord with universal vision, and he is watching all the time to you, so be careful." He said, as if Prabhupada witnessed my notorious activity and gave me an instruction. Sometimes it is very obvious that spiritual master sees through, because spiritual master is Krishna's representative. Spiritual master is Paramatma's representative. So whatever Paramatma want to tell you, he will tell you through various means. One of the means is through spiritual master. So anytime you have such emotions, if you want to validate, please discuss with your closest spiritual authority and get it validated. Okay?
Do you still have time? I have taken quite much of your time.
Yeah, go ahead, no problem.
And do we, I don't know if, Kirtida Sundari Mataji, do we have time, Mataji? I'll ask you the question by the time they get back to. So I have.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Mataji, you can go ahead. If Prabhu is okay, then you can go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. So patiently you answer everyone's question, Prabhu. Thank you. Very grateful for that. Prabhu, I have one thing, like, I don't know, what's the Abhanga, Prabhu?
Abhang is actually a song composed by Tukaram Maharaj, glorifying Lord Vittal. It is like similar to the songs of our Gaudiya Vaishnava Acharyas, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Narottam Das Thakur, and Lochan Das Thakur. Abhangs are, in general, there are many abhangs, like around 40,000 abhangs that Tukaram Maharaj has written, glorifying holy name, glorifying Vaishnava, Seva, Ama, Harinam, Sankirtan. There are other, people in Varkari Sampradaya also have sung songs which people call them as abhang. I wouldn't, fully know all of them, but then we have to be very careful, because Tukaram Maharaj is a bona fide Vaishnava, but there are some classified famous Vittal Bhaktas who are monists, who are Mayavadis. So hence we have to be a bit choosy and careful in singing or glorifying, or at least reading some of their literatures.
Okay. So now my questions, Prabhu, like starting with the association of devotees, Prabhu. So while we are in when we are saying association of devotees, it means all devotees associate all sort of devotees, or it is pure devotees, which I don't know how to find out who is pure, who is not. But does it, in general, in principle, does it mean any devotees? The question that I am asking, Prabhu, the reason is, we have so many sort of devotees. Some of them who are little liberal, especially in the West side, Prabhu, they like, and some of them are like to follow Prabhu, exactly like Prabhupada's way. In that comes the difference. So I have heard from many senior devotees in the class here in the temple that you can pay your obeisances from the distance, which is okay. We don't get agitated, etc. But when we have a argument or a talk which is not pleasing, which is not tushtanjita, which is not pleasing or blissful, that case, that conversation or that experience remain in our mind. I mean, at least I'm talking for myself, Prabhu. In such a situation, even if like somebody has been, spoken in a certain way, which was not pleasing, I may not have replied, but that experience remains. So how, and every time we face that person, like I'm talking about day-to-day dealing, we are facing, I need not have to talk to that person, but every time I see that person, that thought, that unpleasantness, it comes, Prabhu. So isn't it an offense? Though I understand that we shouldn't be. I have also heard from a class that till every Vaishnava is pleased with us, we cannot go back to Godhead. To that extent, I have heard. But this is not on a personal ground. I'm talking that I don't like this Mataji or Prabhuji because of anything. But our thoughts on Krishna consciousness, it does not match. So on that, there is a unpleasant experience. So how do we, keep our consciousness proper and also don't offend Guru and Krishna?
My understanding is from Nectar of Instruction, Srila Prabhupada explained we need to have 3 types of association. Association with Kanishtas, where we respect them within our heart and give them our association and educate them in Krishna consciousness. We should associate with Madhyamas, which means fellow equals, with whom we have exchanges through those loving exchanges, in which certain dealings can be expressed, clarified, or even get corrected. And the third is the association where we only tend to serve and surrender. In the case of the senior self-realized soul scenario, you may still happen to see something not so correct in Krishna consciousness. In such scenarios, we don't have the audacity or authority to question them. So we just pray to Krishna that don't reveal such things to me or help me to understand such things if I get to see that. And one of the aspects is, please prepare me that I may not be able to withstand such a fault. Probably, I may not be able to understand what's going on there. So that clarifies our association with self-realized souls. With our fellow devotees on a day-to-day basis, for sure, we need to have a healthy, frank, transparent conversation with our fellow members, proportionate to the relationship the other person share with us. Because it is extremely important that we are not supposed to hurt, not overdo, not underperform in a relationship. And this is very natural. So one of the techniques and tactics that are allowed in Kali Yuga is silent and not speak about it. In the earlier yugas, offenses are, calculated even if you think about it. If I try to steal from your house, I am punished. In Kali Yuga, there are certain offenses or generally certain kind of quote unquote dealings. Unless it is done, you are still safe. So from that perspective, if you are not so sure about it, if you are not wanting to state it because you do not know how the other person would take it, and if you do not have a better strategy to express yourself, it is better to keep quiet and rather pray to Krishna to either help that person in some capacity so that some other devotee in some other forum helps them, or if you can, indirectly, generically, maybe by passing on a book, by referring to a context, by identifying, sharing some quotes, you can pass on that message. So probably that can help. But very importantly, I was told that you need to learn. It's an art to learn to dwell on others' positive and not dwell on your positive. You learn from others' good things and in turn try to correct our bad things. It's very, very difficult. But Acharyas have literally did abhyasa on this and they demonstrated it. Raghunath Bhatta Goswami will close his ears when two people talk ill of each other. He says that I cannot hear them because both are Krishna's children, and how can I hear anyone speaking to anybody else about ill of each other? The last point is, in a preaching mission, Prabhupada explains in verse number 8 or 9 of 7 or 8 of Nectar of Instruction says, because we are part of a preaching mission, a Madhyama means one who learned to differentiate between ignorant, innocent, and crooked, and accordingly deal with them. So if you have to differentiate, it is not a crime. And if you have to differentiate and classifiedly deal with them according to their understanding, It is absolutely allowed, because anyway for preaching you have to do it, and for your own personal safety in Krishna consciousness, there is no harm in classifying and categorizing them. Did I respond enough?
Yes, Prabhuji, completely. Prabhu, then one more thing, like when we are like, how do I say, when we hear so much, especially Bhakti Sangha, it goes so much into details, you know, but when we hear classes, it automatically leaves the impression on us, right, from the classes. And that's what these classes are. These are not like a movie that we watch and leave, but they're supposed to work on us. As they're working, it is projected in our day-to-day behavior, right? So I have been like, the way I deal sometimes, especially, you know, the other devotee friends, they'll say, oh, you think so much about something, but because I would have heard the class on something like that, so I think for myself, I also think for others how they will think. And of course I cannot do it all like Krishna or Srila Prabhupada, but to the best of, you know, my ability, I try to think on behalf of them. And then I often hear that, then you think too much. Is it something wrong, Prabhuji? This is something that I should work on.
I'll tell you, anytime, if you think of any revolution, it would have started from one's heart. It would have sustained in that person's heart. It would have bothered that person's heart. He would have opened up to someone, and that someone could be 1, 2, 5, 10, 15, 20. 1 or 2 would respond to him and would resonate with the same thought, and they both together form a team, and they resonate and share with between themselves about such a concern, and that's how a revolution spread. Similarly, in our Krishna consciousness urge, because in your earlier point also you mentioned that your little let loose culture in Western world, you know, practices sometimes are very different standards, and in Vaishnava relationships also these influences are pretty much seen. So I personally feel that one of the important barrier in our Krishna consciousness that we need to cross, at least not one, maybe few barriers, is fear, complacency, and going out of our comfort zone. Because these three constantly, like for example, right, when you hear a very powerful, class, you feel really, motivated or trying to do something. But the moment you try to associate with somebody else or somewhere else, your vigor gets lost, or the fear overpowers you. Okay, anyway, I cannot do anything beyond this. Anyway, I cannot think beyond this. Oh, anyway, this is beyond my comfort zone. Anyway, this is beyond my understanding. So we kind of rationalize, amongst ourselves. In Vaishnava K, verse number 2, purport, Prabhupada writes, or Jayapataka Maharaj writes, a statement from Krishna book. Probably you can read, you can search for the word rational. Many times we rationalize the situation because we think that this is the best that we could do. So in our journey to Krishna, I may not be exactly answering the context, but I want to give a perspective, because your second and third question are kind of interconnected, where it is said that I am able to do something to the highest standard only by my desire and interest to do it. No other external circumstances can be the reason for me not doing it. Which means I break the barrier of fear, break the barrier of complacency, break the barrier of comfort zone. Then I say, who is there in this world who is resonating like me? Can I talk to him? Can I contact him? Can I reach out to him? Can I reach out to her? Can I reach out to that person and try to understand how are you able to process them? How are you able to do that? Because it is our important search in our spiritual journey. So why not we walk that extra mile? Malayadwaja, who is the incarnation of Puranjana, in the story of Puranjana, it is explained, 36,000 years he performed Nama Japa Tapasya before he gets self-realization. The reason this period is explained is we need consistent hammering on certain portion of ourselves to cross over the barrier to even start functioning as a missionary. That is why how many missionaries are there? Not many. everybody will want to start. Somebody will walk 5 miles, 7 miles, 10 miles, 20 miles, 200 miles. But after a point in time, they kind of give up. They kind of say that, I'm sorry, I'm not able to manage it. So to address the root cause of this is, if we are able to somehow or other address the fear, address the complacency, address the comfort zone within us, in our Krishna consciousness. This is not about our physical. It is not about, Prabhu, I'm getting up 3 o'clock in the morning, sleeping, 9:30. So I'm only sleeping 5.5 hours, 6 hours. I have crossed that barrier. Thank you. Very nice. It's an achievement. But sensual, physical barriers, we have definitely found the art of, crossing it over. But mental and intellectual, we have a lot more struggle. Somewhere we think, oh my God, if I become very serious, what if it's not conducive to my regular routine? What if my children don't like? What if my family don't like? Several quotients. But for you to get Krishna, you have to cross all those barriers. And the interesting fact is, you're not going to lose any of them, because the fear is a very illusory fear. The fear of me losing them is actually illusion. By you getting Krishna, you're getting closer to Krishna, you're becoming missionary, you're not going to lose them. You're going to gain more and more into a much broader, much farther and much stronger perspective. Making sense, Madhaj?
Absolutely, Prabhu, as you gave a broader answer to it so that it will sort my other problems related. Prabhu, I have 2 more questions. Do you have time, Prabhu?
Yeah, go ahead.
So, like, as you're saying that, that was so, I was resonating with it so much that when you said, no, even if I'm not able to do it, but I'm still trying to do bhakti, like Madhavendra Puri, you said. So, so I'm talking for myself, during low time, it's like right now, Dallas is super hot. I barely feel like doing anything. The houses are hot, even the AC fan, nothing works. And the devotion during winter is much better than the devotion during, or maybe a better, temperature is better. So these times I feel that means my bhakti is not real. It depends so much. I'm of course conditioned and fallen and all those stuff. But when it comes, when I'm face off with my anarthas, like just because it is hot, I don't feel like cooking. I don't feel like doing my, otherwise I'll be enthusiastic, but I feel low, and the extra endeavor that I would do otherwise when I feel externally also comfortable, it's much less when I am not so either too hot or too cold. How do I, remain?
Because tomorrow you get a letter from federal government saying that your Prabhu and your family got a special reward from the federal government, and you have been given a wonderful mansion in Washington, DC. Only if you occupy the house in the next 3 days' time. So all summer, winter, autumn, spring, everything will go for a toss. Because we are going to get a, something. I'm not saying that there is a material conditioning that bothers us. The point is, the very reason why we are not able to remain enthusiastic is because of those 3 portions that I said. The point is that if there is some fear, because what happens is that if you plot a graph in your pre-Krishna conscious days, earlier Krishna conscious days, the days just few weeks before your initiation, the period of your initiation, the day after your initiation, and the day from that point in time till the day you are trying to prepare for a second initiation. You plot the graph. We are all very much result, success, and reward oriented. Somehow, internally, there is something. Suppose, for example, tomorrow Janmashtami is there, Rath Yatra is there, or your Guru Maharaj is coming to the temple. No summer, no situation will bother you. Somewhere the routine. Even Krishna is like that for that matter. Why we are like that is because Krishna is like that. Krishna doesn't like routine. Even though Krishna has a routine, Krishna is a Rasaraj. He wants varieties. He keeps exploring, keep doing things. And that is why, we have that, impression in a reverse direction. We also cannot, get settled for, routine. But one of the important quality of a self-realized soul is they're so boring. They have a fixed wonderful routine. Boring from a millennial's viewpoint. So boring means they have a simple repetitive task. Japa, sadhana, seva, sangha. Japa, sadhana, seva, sangha, bhajana. That is a repeat. 23 hours you have to chant. You cannot chant only, just as out of formality. Unless you have love, unless you have some, special bonding with the name. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj, for 10 long years, he used to lock himself in the Bhajan Kutir in Vrindavan, in Mayapur. If you go to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's mutt, there is a Bhajan Kutir still there. Where 10 years before Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj started preaching, he used to chant 1 lakh times of chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So the point I'm saying is that, unfortunately, our conditioning is now result-oriented. Our Krishna consciousness is also result-oriented. So what we have to program, learn to program, that is the reason I was telling Haridas also, that we need to hear Vaishnavacharya's life stories, is because they functioned for no result. Because they knew the result is itself the process. The point is that for us, the result is in festival, in Rath Yatra, we need Gurudev, we need Sangha, Bhakti Sangha, we need some events to keep enticing us. Because today we are in Anishtita Bhajana Kriya stage. When Anishtita Bhajana Kriya is there, we will have these mood swings. When from the in Madhurya Kadamini, very nicely, Krishnadas, Vrindavan Das Thakur is explaining, from Anishtita Bhajana Kriya to a Nishta stage, crossing over Anartha Nivritti. It's an achievement. It's a stage. You have to go through that. And that period, we need to go through that. And the first aspect of the period is to recognize that we are in the period. If you do not even recognize that you are in the period, you will not even act on it. So if you are already contemplating on it, it's good that you are thinking about it. Hey, why am I feeling a little, let loose, lost, or feeling, exasperated? So it is because of probably, we are in that period. At least we are recognizing something is, not in place. So probably we can, churn more, talk more, study more, evaluate more. Makes sense?
Yes, completely, Prabhu. And my last question, as you were mentioning towards the end of your lecture, that that we should have a sangha where you can, discuss deeper things, not in a public forum, and with the people who are qualified, right? Qualified people. We cannot go and discuss with everything. If you ask me, are you qualified? I will say I'm qualified. If you would have asked me 1 year back, I will say I'm qualified. How do I know whether I'm qualified for such deeper discussion? And how do we create it, Prabhu?
If you are in your private, if you are a very sincere, honest person, who are you in your private forum? If you write it down, because the thief in us will wake up when we are alone. When I am alone, when I am not in Vaishnava Sangha, when I am not in public, what am I thinking? In fact, when Gaudiya Math was going through the rough phase, there were some devotees, just to avoid nonsense political association, they used to do bhajana, cry to holy name, and publicly they used to smoke bidis. The idea is that sometimes, Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj did that. Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, he, Rasikananda Prabhu, Vamsidas Babaji Maharaj, Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, all the Babajis that we know in Gaudiya Vaishnava, the reason they are Babajis is they are very unusual people. They try to do some publicly unusual activities so that nobody comes closer to them, and they do very strong bhajana. So the point I want to drive home is, if we very systematically, sincerely think, that is a very nice art. When you are alone, if you can map your thought process, how much am I Krishna conscious? Am I thinking Krishna consciousness? Am I vibrant enough in, dwelling on Krishna consciousness, or am I only a, Bhakti Sangha conference video person? In the call, I will ask, I mean, there are people who know to put up a very wonderful, stature of them, and not follow the right path. So the answer to your scenario is that when am I ready? Two things. Number one, if you are able to list, identify in your private personal moments when you're alone, how much Krishna consciousness thoughts come upon you. And number two, when you see your fellow devotees succeeding in Krishna consciousness, how much happiness you derive. These two things will tell you, are you progressing or not? Both are required. In your private moment, are you thinking about Krishna? Then your fellow members, suppose your god sister, your god brother, your neighbor, your colleague, suppose they got more Krishna consciousness, they got progress in Krishna consciousness, they became second initiated before you in Krishna consciousness, they became Bhakti Vaibhava before you in Krishna consciousness. So you feel happy, elated, genuinely, or you just smile in front of them and say, oh my God, they've progressed ahead of me, and some sort of a jalan. So the idea is that if there is an iota of enviousness within the heart, the ecstasy that you get is only a trick of Maya. So because envy and ecstasy cannot go hand in hand. So as I mentioned to that other Mataji's question, you can feel ecstatic moments. So that moments are good, clear. Those moments you had really surrendered and Krishna revealed you. But don't conclude that you have become ecstatic. So you may have to go through still the stages of purification. Makes sense, Mataji?
Yes, absolutely, Prabhu. With that, I was thinking the thoughts, I'm talking for myself. I might be thinking something which is not nice. I mean, the four regulative principles, it is one on gross level and one is on subtle level. Subtle level, I might be breaking them. But at the same time, I might be aware that, oh, Krishna, I should not be thinking like that. See what kind of thought I am having. That is where I feel for myself. It's like a parallel thing. I realize that this is not a thought, whether it is an envious thought or it is an unchaste thought or whatever sort of thought, Prabhu. What I feel is like, because we hear so much from Bhakti Sangha itself and other places and Srila Prabhupada classes, at least the point where we realize that, these thoughts are not nice thoughts. This thought should not be something that I should be dwelling upon. Is there any hope, Prabhu, from there?
It is definitely fair, because Krishna likes people, Krishna likes those hearts which are, genuine and confessing. A cleansing person, a person who is cleansing himself, not fully cleansed, is still better than a person not even started cleaning. I feel sorry for my state that I shouldn't be doing this. And that feeling, because what is the first step of getting rid of our abominable action is feeling disgusted upon ourselves. The moment we are not feeling disgusted upon, because enjoyment and disgustion cannot go hand in hand. When you have disgusting feeling, at some point in time, you'll give up the enjoyment. You cannot continuously feel I'm disgusted and keep doing it. So at some point in time, you will relinquish, provided there is a positive Krishna consciousness influence on your lifestyle. So for sure, such a repentance is good. We had a wonderful session on analysis of our mistakes. Krishna willing, sometime we'll discuss that. Okay.
And how do we create? That was my follow-up question. How do we create?
So the creation, the creating, one of the important steps that is always told is have a heart-to-heart friend with whom you can actually share. It's very important. There are forums where you can, the moment Satsuru Maharaj writes there. Satsuru Maharaj has written a book called Obstacles on the Path of Krishna Consciousness. And that he writes, a spiritual companion is a very good tool for us to cleanse our heart, both out of our, all the anomalies or unchastity, and also for firing the enthusiasm within ourselves. But that association had to be very well handpicked, because that association can, if it is wrongly chosen, it can be detrimental. If it is correctly chosen, it can give you, volcanic effect of it. Very, very powerful effect. People have transformed like anything.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for your patience and time. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. So sorry for taking extra time, but your answers are valuable, Prabhu. Offer our obeisances, Prabhu. Panchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubheva patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo. Thank you once again, Prabhuji. And we beg forgiveness for all the mistake that we have committed towards you and all the Vaishnavas. Thank you so much. So we pause for today and again begin from tomorrow. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to Caitanya Bhagavat. All glories to Ramgiridhari Prabhu. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for beautiful question and answers and nice class. We will close the call for today. Thank you everyone for joining. Hari Bol.